what you want to know about Oxford and Cambridge is, well, what you know already. They're universities of extraordinary stature. Look at the QSI rankings of world universities, and of thousands and thousands of universities in the world, Oxford and Cambridge have sometimes been rated number one. Oxford's sometimes been number one. Cambridge sometimes been number one. They've never fallen out the top 10 ever. So they're the top two in not just in the United Kingdom, they're the top two in Europe. And they're often pipped by American universities, which have got far more money. And there are other UK universities. I mentioned LSE, Imperial, Bristol, Edinburgh, which are very highly rated as well. So Oxford, Cambridge and London, they're absolutely gorgeous places to live, beautiful landscape, magnificent buildings, very exciting and cosmopolitan. They are expensive though. That is one of the downsides. Now, people from outside the United Kingdom are often fixated in London and they assume things in London are necessarily better, and that's not true. Okay, there are some outstanding universities in London, the LSE, Imperial, King's College London and so forth. But there are other universities in the north of England and Scotland which are fantastic too. I mentioned University of Edinburgh, the University of St Andrews in Scotland, or in Northern England, the University of York, the University of Durham and so on. So just look beyond London as well. So there are lots of fascinating things about these universities. They all go rowing. Oxford is on the River Thames, the same river that flows through London. There's the University of boat race every March or April in London. So Oxford and Cambridge row against each other. It's broadcast live on BBC television. Tens of thousands of people line the banks to cheer. So that's been going for almost 200 years. There's also the varsity match. That's a rugby match between Oxford and Cambridge at Twickenham in the first week of December. Twickenham is England's national rugby stadium. So Oxford wears dark blue, Cambridge wears light blue, so on. There's the men's rugby match, the women's rugby match. Likewise in rowing, there's a men's crew, there's a women's crew, and they compete against each other in all major sports, cricket, football, you name it. But rowing and rugby are the ones which really attract huge attention. So you can play all sorts of sports at these universities. They've got excellent facilities. So there are various stereotypes about Oxford and Cambridge. That is that everybody is a rich, white, British person, and that's never been true, and it's particularly not true now. These have been multiracial universities for centuries. Certainly the first black student went to Oxford University in 1877. And there have been Indian undergraduates at Oxford University and Cambridge University from the 1870s, and so on. And Cambridge took women in 1874, Oxford took women in 1878. That's before some countries allowed women to pursue higher education. You don't have to be wealthy. They're people from working class backgrounds, more so than ever before. People didn't all go to elite schools like Eton. It's not to say these people don't exist. They do. There are some people who've been to elite public schools, but don't be frightened. Don't let these myths put you off. The stereotype is exaggerated and is decades out of date. Well, I mean, I think they're much of a muchness. Now, biased though I am, people often say that Oxford has the edge in humanities. Cambridge is a tiny bit better at sciences. It's got this new, well, not that new, this science park, which Bill Gates funded about 20 years ago. That's where DNA and so was discovered. But I think there's very little to choose from. You could be an outstanding historian or linguist if graduated from Cambridge. You could be a world-class scientist and have gone to Oxford. So they're really on a par.